At Monday's press conference, Arthur Blank talked and answered questions about pretty much everything, including the Falcons' lack of pursuit of the guy who's going to win the MVP this year and his second MVP award, Lamar Jackson. And we've talked about this at length, how he was never really available unless they offered something ridiculous. And I texted you the other day, if you knew what you knew now, like this year had happened, would you have, given him, which basically probably would have had to been a fully guaranteed contract, which there was obviously collusion involved. So it was never going to happen for that reason as well. They didn't want to, make that precedent after what happened with Deshaun Watson. But at some point, as much as there's collusion involved, Arthur Blank could have stepped out of line and said, hey, you know what? Screw you guys. I don't need to be a part of this because first of all, it's not fair. I don't even think it's legal. But second of all, like he could just step out of line and be like, I'm going to do what's best for my team. Would you have done it? Would you have handed him close to or basically a fully guaranteed contract knowing what we know today?
Well, it's not my money, so yeah, I don't care. But if it was my money, still no. I mean, the giving somebody a fully guaranteed contract in this league, it just doesn't work out. Rarely ever for the team. And I know that Lamar Jackson is having an unbelievable year. But what's to say a guy like him isn't going to get injured, torn ACL next year, and now you're out $50-60 million that year, no matter what. So I get, everybody's sentiments about how the Falcons are idiots for not, at least inquiring. But Rich McKay, one of the few things he said that I think were true was, the whole thing with the restricted free agent, which is basically what Lamar Jackson is you could do all this legwork, working out the intricacies of a contract, what works out for you, what works out for them. And you get all the way to the finish line. And then Baltimore just comes in and goes, oh, yeah, thanks. We'll just take that deal. Thank you for doing it all for us. We're just going to keep Lamar Jackson. So I do think that is very true, that unless the Falcons came with an unprecedented, I'm talking Lamar Jackson signed like a $260 million deal, 130 of it was fully guaranteed or something. Let's say $260 million fully guaranteed. The Ravens were not going to match that. It's not my money. I'm doing it 10 times out of 10. Send them the first round picks. I don't care. I want a quarterback in this league. I mean, Lamar Jackson is a top 5 quarterback right now in the NFL. And though, there's questions that need to be answered about, his potential playoff run, his ability is second to none. I mean, the guy is absolutely a superstar.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Lamar Jackson fan, but let's be real. I mean, we're desperate for a quarterback. He is a superstar. And I do think some of those questions will be answered. I don't know if he'll win a Super Bowl this year, but I do think that they're going to have a deep run, at least to the AFC Championship, if not make it to the Super Bowl, because I have been really impressed with how he's looked with Tom Monken and stuff like that, who's a guy who could be the next head coach in Atlanta, by the way. But I'm with you. I mean, listen, like hindsight's 2020. Like if you were able to predict the future and say, yeah, Lamar is going to win the MVP next year and stay healthy for all 17 games, which he hasn't been able to do over the last couple of years, be healthy for a playoff run and stuff like that. If you knew all that, yeah, fine and dandy. The facts are that's why we like playing the hypothetical game. But as you even said, even then, it's still not a slam dunk, because let's say the Ravens don't win the Super Bowl this year and they fall short again, and then he gets injured next year. And, it's not like the Falcons were in a better chance than the Ravens to win the Super Bowl if he was in Atlanta.
I don't know. I think the NFC is much easier of a path, in my opinion, than the AFC.
That is true. And speaking of to that AFC, just think about what it's going to be like next year, assuming Aaron Rodgers gets healthy and stuff like that. Joe Burrow gets back healthy. I mean, that is a gauntlet over there. There's always an argument which is better.
Now you got Houston. Yeah. You got to take them seriously.
And if Trevor Lawrence, I know everyone's bashing him, but the Jags were a team that was supposed to come up and coming. He kind of gets injured at the end of the year. Maybe he gets healthy. I mean, you really got maybe 10 legitimate Super Bowl contenders in that conference. And who knows what's going to happen with the Browns and Deshaun Watson. I mean, we totally forgot that Joe Flacco is leading that team to an 11-10 record. So nothing's going to be –
On the flip side of things, NFC wide open. I mean, the Falcons get a couple of hires,
get a quarterback.
We're in it.
I mean, look at the Eagles. They look dead to rights playing the Bucs this year. I mean, a lot of people are picking the Bucs to win that game. So yes, the NFC is as wide open as it possibly could be. That's why the Falcons need to make a move now. Coming up after the break, Mike Vrabel is fired. We don't have a ton of time, but we do want to give our opinions on him as the Falcons head coach.